Good morning. Okay, so it is Thursday, January 10th, about 9:13 a.m. Eastern Time, and looking at the daily chart, regular trading hours of March contract ES. Okay, so we continue this higher highs, higher lows, lower volume. So we also have a doji indecision type candle yesterday. I've got moving averages back on here. So this is a 20 moving average. It's just starting to come in sideways. Okay. I would expect before we move a lot higher that we're going to kind of fall back to that. Maybe not today. Maybe. Okay. So that's what we've got from the daily chart here. Let's look at a 24-hour quickly. Okay, I know this chart looks quite messy. Before we get to the 20 moving average on a daily chart, we do have this trend line here. It would hit and probably bounce. So we may be looking at a little bit of a consolidation for a day or so. So it may not have a lot of downside today. Not sure. But you can see in the overnight we are down. Have we hit a trading range? So let's see. We may get a little trading range here. So let me do this. Hopefully this is not going to translate onto the other. $25, 60, 50. Okay, I want to mark that level over on the profile. 25, 60, 50. All right, that's great. So this is the overnight low. Well, obviously, the overnight low, which I already have as sort of a buy zone. If we get below that, we may drift down to, this would be below these value areas over here. This is a gray area as opposed to the black. You can't see the edges so well because they're overlapped. They're going to be a little bit lighter blue where they're overlapped, where these are looking for possible reversals, the darker blue. But if we do get a little acceptance in the gray area, this might indicate a place to look for a retracement to go with to the other side of this area. Hopefully that makes sense. So 60-50 would be if we come down here and we come back in, we are definitely wanting to consider looking at everything from, look at it this way. Let me explain it this way. Looking at this as like a gray area. So if we come down below this and come back in, we're going to maybe stay in the overnight range and part of yesterday's range. Or, I don't know if there'll be a complete move up higher. But you get the idea. So this is a trading range, possibly. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to pull in a 30-minute chart here. So in this 30-minute chart, you can see that I've drawn this pattern here and a neckline. What is the support area? Well, it may be something as simple as this. Let me do this real quick. Maybe it's something as simple as this. Okay. So if we continue up and we get above this line here, oh great, what did I do? There we go. And that is at 74.5. Okay. So hopefully that green, I don't think I have, I might have this going off to, yeah, I do. I don't know. I want to leave that in there. That's a little too complicated, but that was just to illustrate this is what this support is against. As you can see, where it came down to 67.75, the top of this, and we've traded up since then. We're back into this gray area where I said, we came down, market came down and traded outside a little bit, traded back in. Now we're headed to the other side. Same things happened in here, right? Same thing sort of here. Before it was really, it probed lower, but as we got back up in here, this was the idea. So 74.50. This would put us back into where we start to get double prints. Before we break through it, though, there may be a little chop. There may be some opportunities for some scalps to the downside, or it may fail. We may not. We may continue the downside. We've got kind of mixed news on the job claims already this morning. Apparently, the China trade talks and everything is nothing bullish yet, and some other sources are telling me that for it to really go a lot higher, we need something, justifiably bullish to hear. So that's something to consider. So let's talk about these areas here. Let's get down to the real nitty gritty. I already talked about this down here. This blue possible reversal area accounts for some volume dropping off, accounts for the S2 pivot, the other side of this trading range balance area. I'd have to slide over here I'm not going to go through and explain every single one of them. We want to remember that we've got, again, some interesting structure going on that, pull this together. Okay. That this could be revisited, but that is the S3. It's kind of far away. We've got now I don't remember why I circled that one. But we've got some lows back here. Got poor lows. And I don't remember why I have that one circled other than it hasn't been revisited. So okay. Right now, the daily moving average is for the 20. I marked that on here in case we got down here, but I don't believe that we will. Well, no, it's not that tremendously far. We could have a liquidation break, especially with that doji. So anyway, 10 minutes till the open. This is what I'm looking at as far as maybe a play to start with. We're opening in range below value, which is bearish. We are in a consolidation now I don't know what's going to happen to my lines. You can see that I've drawn this potential head and shoulders. We don't know I'm not sure what the right shoulder is going to be, or if we're going to get much more built out. But let me collapse this for a moment. Okay, you can see that we got a lot of value. We're just above the VPOC right now where we're trading. We're in range on the low, which was taken out in the overnight. We've got a fairly okay low in the overnight. It is towards these value area lows over here on the 8th and the night of the 7th. Kind of traded back out of there, which again is another, if we trade through there, we don't get a lot of acceptance inside this below these value areas. This might be a reversal. We may just get a look below the overnight low and come back in. So one other thing I want to pull up and show you, is that if we get down here and we get to the other side, we could see some rotation inside this, notwithstanding these areas might turn red, and that might help define like where the rotations turn around roughly. Okay, but we've got this area that may get built out or filled in. That's a possibility. It may extend from all the way up here at 75 quarter all the way down to 55-ish, or maybe even a little lower, but with maybe a lot of back and forth from this divot down to maybe this divot. Again, these are just things that through experience you've seen. If we get above it and build the same kind of thing, you see this lower interest, lower volume to area. In that case, some of these, we might look at this VPOC on a 30-day as more of a support area, and may turn this blue. This will turn blue, and we may start getting some of this, exploration back into yesterday's range. In that case, we do get above the overnight high, this is not a very big value area. So we want to look, if we do see upside, we want to look for possibly the 80% coming into play. Another important note in the overnight is we do have a double distribution. We've got a very wide VPOC. So my initial play, and we've been above it for a bit of time now, my initial play would be that as the market opens, if it flips down a little bit, that we're going to get some kind of reaction around this area, below yesterday's low, below this overnight low. I don't know how far down it'll extend. If it'll stop right here at the TPOC, that this would be very aggressive. In fact, I could even put let me go ahead and do that. I should probably put this in here. Let me extend it. I should probably make this a little higher. Again, this is an area you want to watch your other things. I'm sure we'll get some bounces back and forth off of the VPOC, the TPOC, and the S1. Will it come all the way down and slam and then reverse? There's a good possibility that it may be a mixture of both. It may take a minute. It may come to the upside, may come back down, come down here, then go up again. We may have something similar to what we had yesterday. But the takeaway from this is that there may be a nice little long in here for, scalp, or maybe this is where we find our direction and conviction back to the upside. Okay, let's look at this split out again. We do get above this, if we do start going up at this volume edge or at this edge, or especially up here when you start to get to the red, this would be where, if you're still in a position, you might want to take some off any one of these areas. Probably going to be a reaction up here before we penetrate it. Don't know. Also potential for it to really slam through it with short covering through all these single prints here. Once we're above it, this little area all the way down to the gray could be support to continue the upside, get the overnight high, revisit these VPOC areas. So again, my initial play would be, I think I'm favoring, now we had news at 8:30. It was a little mixed, so we could get I'm not advising that we get in a trade. When I say we, I'm not saying that I really want to trade initially. I think I might, but that you might want it to shake out a little bit, especially if it trades like yesterday. There'll be opportunities. We're right in the middle of this trading range area, so going above it and coming back in on a smaller time frame, you might want to look for a way to get in. We may be seeing this head and shoulder thing being built out a little bit before it really makes its way up. It may take till later morning. Let's see if there's anything else I want to talk about. Again, I'm only really talking about trades right in here. The rest of it is going to have to kind of see what happens, but and reconsider these areas. There's even a potential that if it does break down, just the way the neckline is even, and the way this is a very deep shoulder, we could get a very symmetrical shoulder. Patterns do form like that. So this could be down to the value area low. So this edge of this buy area may be worth considering, because we do have a fairly decent low in the overnight. This may be worth considering. If we just move through this VPOC, and see this extended volume here, it's almost as long as the VPOC. If we move through this very quickly, and again, this all comes down to feel, experience, and if it moves like a knife through butter, hot knife through melted butter, even, this might be the place to try something. Again, be careful. It's like it's just the first minutes of the trade, and then of course same up here. But I think odds are high we're going to see a lot of back and forth through the open to start with. There might be opportunities for quick scalps. Hopefully you're using OCOs and things like that, and you have a little setup that you're comfortable with. If you want to trade that, for the longest time, I was taught the first hour isn't, don't trade at all. Initial, wait for the initial balance to set up. That's amateur hour. Well, no, it's professional hour. And my goal is to become a professional trader. Somebody knows what they're doing. Sure, institutions are just dumping orders on open, but there is some control. The market is somewhat orderly. Not always, but there is a method to the madness, as you've seen if you've been watching my videos. So anyway, we're going to open in a minute. I'll just leave it there. I wish I knew. I feel like I'm missing something. I'm not sure what it is, but sometimes it's good to take remember, I'm just going to recap real quick. The daily, we got a doji here. These averages are sort of planing out, and very often, if they're not following, we're going to get a retracement to them before we continue. That's just been my experience. The volume is lower up here in the highs. We come to the merge. We take a look out here, and we look at these divots. They tend to get revisited, and kind of like when you get a tooth pulled and you feel that hole with your tongue for a while. It's kind of the same thing. So we want to watch for that. That's a concept that I've seen a lot. So anyway, back to the profile, then I'll close the video. We're about to open. Yeah, just I know it's complicated, but anyway, gotta go. Bye.